Hi, and welcome again to One Big Thing, a KAC legislative update. This week's big thing is Turnaround Day. Turnaround Day is next Friday, February the 23rd. As a reminder, Turnaround Day is the day when all legislation must be out of its chamber of origin in order to be considered during the rest of the session. Now, of course, as with every rule in the legislature, there are exceptions to this. Exempt committees, in other words, those committees that are exempt from deadlines, do not have to have their legislation out of committee by the end of next week. However, for non-exempt committees, those committees do have to finish their work and move those bills not only out of committee, but across the floor of the Chamber of Origin in order for those bills to be considered during the rest of the session. Now, as a reminder, the exempt committees are House and Senate Federal and State Affairs, the Senate Ways and Means Committee, the Senate Assessment and Taxation Committee, House Committee on Calendar and Printing, House Appropriations, and House Taxation, as well as any other special committees that have been named during that particular session. Those committees are exempt committees. In other words, the deadlines do not apply for them. But all of the other committees like local government, committees like judiciary, those committees must finish their work on their bills and move those bills out of the committee and across the body's floor by the end of business next Friday. If they do not do that, those bills are considered dead for the session. And because this is the second year of the biennium, those bills would effectively be dead. So we should see a thinning of some of the bills that are still up for consideration. However, the term that I want to remind you of is a term called a blessed bill. A blessed bill is a bill that will get sent from a non-exempt committee, a committee like House Judiciary, and sent to an exempt committee like House Federal and State Affairs. If that were to happen, that bill is now blessed because it has been in an exempt committee and could still be considered. This is often used as a legislative strategy for bills that have not had time to be considered either on the House floor or the Senate floor, or they need more information, or potentially they are working on amendments for those bills. In that case, there is times where the action will not take place prior to turnaround, but the bill will be blessed so that it can continue to be considered after the turnaround deadline. We're going to be watching several bills because there are a lot of bills that moved through committees like Judiciary and Federal and State or Judiciary and Local Government in both chambers that may still need to be considered, that may not get a chance to move across the floor. This is especially important because they still have not had an opportunity to consider the veto override, and that could take up precious floor time next week when the House and Senate are trying to work their way through all of the bills that have moved out of committee so far this year. Keep an eye on the timing of these things, as that could dictate how the rest of this session goes. That's all for now, but we look forward to talking to you next week on a Turnaround Friday.